بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق.
Okay, so inshallah we'll start. I think you can hear me without mic. My voice is pretty loud, inshallah. So we are talking about the ahadith that mentions the various acts of Rasulullah sallallahu in relation to salah. Okay. Now let me repeat one more time that if you have any question that is in relation with the topic of hadith, you can of course ask, but do not ask questions that are not related to the topic, so we get diverted. Okay, if you fail to understand something that is being talked about in hadith, of course you can ask. But if we deviate from the topic, then it becomes too much, and then we get lost. So, and one more thing, brothers, after every 6 months, brothers and sisters, the time changes, but our time would remain the same, 8:15. So technically it's 7:15, but you know, it's 8:15. So we'll keep it at 8:15, inshallah. Yeah. So, Bismillah. Okay, so last week we talked about few ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I'll give a quick review and then we'll do the new ahadith. One hadith that we covered last week was the hadith number 416, right there. It says that Saban ibn Malik says that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to my house and said, "Where do you like me to pray?" So I pointed to a place. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Allahu Akbar," and we aligned behind him, and he offered 2 rakat of nafil salah. So I mentioned to you 2 or 3 things here, and let me quickly repeat them again. One is that when you invite a wali of Allah, person who is very close to Allah according to your belief, okay? To get barakah from him, that is proven from this hadith, okay? Otherwise the sahabi could have prayed salah at any place in his house, but he called Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to pray 2 rakat of salah. Why? Because he wanted that to take that place as a place of musalla. Now he'll pray salah there, right? So otherwise there was no need for it, right? But Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam went there, prayed 2 rakat salah there. That sahabi took that spot as a place of barakah. Okay. So our Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Al-ulama warithatul anbiya." Those people who are ulamas, but the right ulamas who practice upon deen. Okay, so you can. They are warithatul anbiya. They are the substitute of anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam. Okay, so you can call a person who you think is very close to Allah, right, for barakah, and you know. So this is something that is. Another thing that I would like to remind sisters as well as brothers both here, that there were certain acts that Sahaba used to do with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but those acts were not limited to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Those acts could be done with awliyaullah today, with ulama today, and that is, for example, I'm just thinking about one right now, although there are many. One is that when a baby is born, right? So Sahaba used to bring their newborn baby, let's say a week or 10 days after, to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam for tahniq. Right? What is tahniq? Tahniq is that person will come. That person will come. Okay, that person will come with his baby, the father. The father will come with his baby to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and will give the baby in the lap of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Rasulullah will take the baby in his lap, and then Rasulullah will take a very, very small part of a date, and Rasulullah will put it in his blessed mouth, right? So now that piece of date, right, has the saliva of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? So, and then Rasulullah will put that piece of date that has the saliva of Rasulullah in the mouth of that baby. Of course, baby will not eat, too young. But the saliva of Rasulullah sallallahu, right, had gone into the mouth of that newborn. So this is called tahniq. This is for the barakah of the saliva of Rasulullah sallallahu. So this is called tahniq. Now, our ulama have written that if you consider somebody a wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, somebody close to Allah, somebody who you see has ilm and plus he follows on Islam as well. Because ilm and amal both make a person close to Allah. Just ilm becomes a curse for a person who is not falling upon him. Remember that. Yeah, I mean, if you have knowledge but you are not following, it becomes curse upon you. In fact, ulama have written that the more you gain ilm but you don't follow, the more you will get away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? So when you gain ilm, now you have to practice upon it. Like in Surah Jama, you must have read this ayah in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ حُمِّلُوا التَّوْرَاةَ ثُمَّ لَمْ يَحْمِلُوهَا كَمَثِلِ حِمَارٍ. Himar means donkey. Yeah, يَحْمِلُوا أَسْفَارًا. That if you have ilm, but you don't practice upon it, then you are like a donkey that is carrying loads of books on his back, but it is not benefiting the himar. Himar does not benefit from the loads of book that he's carrying. Right? So Allah is saying, don't be like that, but when you learn something, practice upon it. So there are ulama that are called ulama su. Su means evil ulamas who have tremendous amount of knowledge, but when they do not practice. Brother, sister, if you know the history of India, do you know that in the court of King Akbar, there were two brothers. Faiz and Abul Fazl and Abul Faizi. Both of them were, gifted people. And they have both brothers had tremendous amount of knowledge. Actually, one of them wrote a Seerat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a whole book, without using any letter that has a nukta on it. No dots. Imagine, wrote the whole biography of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, did not use any letter that has a dot. Genius. He wanted to do it. But they were ulama su. You talk to them on any topic and they had all the knowledge. But when it comes to, both of these brothers were a very important reason why Akbar gave up Islam. And he invented a new religion called Deen Ilahi, in which he made it compulsory upon his people to make sajda to him. So Akbar will sit on a throne that would be really aloof, and he will ask and Abul Fazl and Abul Faizi would be one of them. He'll say, everybody will make sajda to me. So he, and then this is, and in his religion, what's called Deen Ilahi, he made idol worshipping a part of his religion, right? Marrying Hindu and Muslim, no problem. That's why he has multiple wives that were Hindu and all that. So, but one of the reasons why he left Islam was because he saw Abul Fazl and Abul Faizi that they had tremendous amount of knowledge. But they had no practice whatsoever. So he got disheartened and then he left Islam. You see? Like in your religion, in your country, some of you who are from Pakistan, there was a Maulana who was called Maulana Whiskey.
Yes.
He came to Lucknow, I remember, and I was surprised that he was drunken.
Yeah.
And he came to Lucknow from Pakistan as there was in 88, 89, there was a gathering, a conference, right, on Islam that was organized by local Muslims, and he came and he was drunken. I mean, people were shocked. I mean, 88, 89. I mean, I could not believe. And that was the first time that I got introduced to him. I mean, intelligent, genius person. Genius person. He had a book called All Line Cut Gaye. All Line Cut Gaye. You read, you know, a good book. But he came to Lucknow drunken. I mean, the Indian newspapers from Lucknow wrote about it. So, what I'm trying to say is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have given such a big ni'mah, that is the ilm of deen. And those people who have ilm of deen, they become the inheritors of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, provided that they are practicing upon it. Otherwise, the more you gain ilm, the more you get away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if you are not practicing. Okay, second one is okay. So the next hadith is a long hadith which we talked about last week, and again on the same topic. That yes.
If some of those awliyas, should you take their saliva and put it in his mouth?
Yes. It's called tahniq. So people still do it in the Muslim world, but many of us do not do this, which is so. Actually, brothers, it has to do with the fact that, you know, when a mother is pregnant, right, with the baby, Islam says that the woman, that mother, should keep herself away from all haram things. You know, because if she is listening to haram, seeing haram, it will affect the baby. Okay? Now, the modern discoveries have proved that baby responds. Baby that is in the womb responds. Right? So it affects the way baby is thinking. This is why, my dear brothers and sisters, when a baby is born, what do we have to do? Azan and Iqama. Although you'll say, Hafiz Sahab, come on, this baby was born like 5 minutes ago. You know, what are you doing? I mean, this baby will not understand what is Azan. Right? But when Hassan and Hussein were born, Rasulullah himself called Adhan in the ear of Hassan and Iqama in the ear of Hussein. Why? When these kids, when these babies who are born do not understand a thing, right? Right? You are saying Allahu Akbar, that baby, and this baby is crying. You know, it was just born. You know, so it is for the fact that these babies have shu'ur. They are listening, but we do not understand how they are listening. So when the baby is in the womb of the mother, it is said that the mother should do tilawat of Quran excessively, should do zikr of Allah excessively, because the baby is going to be affected by what the mother is listening and reading, right, or doing. Okay, so if you want your baby to be pious, it starts from before. Okay. In fact, our Rasul said that there is a certain dua that you make even before the baby is conceived. Right? Allahumma jannibna shaitan wajannib ma razaqtana. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, protect me from shaitan and protect my future generations from shaitan. Okay? So then the baby that your wife is going to conceive, she inshallah would be pious. Okay? So this is why it is said that when a husband and a wife are together, that act itself is an act of ibadah. See? Rasulullah said. So a Sahabi said, O Prophet of Allah, how can that be an act of ibadah? Rasulullah said, yes, you will be rewarded for that. So Sahabi said, how? Rasulullah said that what? If you will try to fulfill that desire that Allah has put. Right? Remember in the Quran Allah said, Zuyyina linnāsi hubbu shahawati min an-nisa'. Allah said, I have put this desire in the heart of men and in the heart of women. Rasulullah said, what if you will fulfill that desire through the haram way? Will you not get the sin? He said, yes. So Rasulullah said, well, you are fulfilling the same desire which Allah has put. Right? the halal way, so you will be. So that act itself will become an act of virtue. Anyhow. So now the next hadith sharif is that hadith sharif. Now it's a long hadith, I will not go into it because we have already covered it. The last part of the hadith sharif talks about the fact that whether it is not appropriate for us to judge people. Okay? Because when this one Sahabi said that, oh, you know what, he's a hypocrite and does not love Allah and Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? Right? So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam corrected. You see right at the end that what was that to highlight there? Okay, so Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said what? He said, Allah and His Rasul know better. We have seen him helping and advising. No, I'm sorry. Rasulullah said Allah has forbidden the hell fire for those who say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Okay? So until you have a concrete proof, do not judge a person that he is kafir or he is hypocrite, he is mushrik. No. There has to be a concrete proof. So Rasulullah said, although you have seen him talking to hypocrites, having friendship with hypocrites, but give him the benefit of doubt. Okay? Regarding giving benefit of doubt, listen to this. One day Rasulullah was going with his wife in Medina Munawwara. A Sahabi passed by Rasulullah. He said that Ya Rasulullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. He went. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then Rasulullah felt something. Rasulullah said, hey, come here. Rasulullah said, who is this woman? He said, yes, Ya Rasulullah. No, I don't know. Rasulullah said, she is my wife. He said, yes, your Prophet. Rasulullah said, you know why I told you this? I said, because when you were passing by, the way you looked, I felt that you might be thinking, whom am I walking with? So here Rasulullah cleared the doubt. So this is what we are saying. If you have any doubt, clear it. And regarding Iman, we must not judge somebody because of his friendship with munafiqeen or mushrikeen or kafir. No. Rasulullah said to Sahaba that you have to be sure, 100% sure, that this person is a kafir. This is why our ulama of Ilmul Kalam have written that if there are 99.9% proof that this person is kafir, right? 0.1% possibility that these proofs that I have could be wrong. Still do not call that person kafir. You see? So, and remember that hadith sharif in which Rasulullah said, if you call Muslim kafir, what will happen?
You become kafir.
Yeah, this kalima will come back upon you. Meaning, al-ayadu billah, you will become kafir. It will come back upon you. In our culture, sometimes we call a person, hey, you are kafir. Tum to kafir ho gaye. No, you cannot say that until you have.
पेशावर में बोलते हैं ये काफिर मुल्ला है
क्या है?
काफिर मुल्ला है तो बहुत अच्छा आलिम हो ना उसको कहते हैं ये काफिर मुल्ला है
अच्छा है पठान लोग है क्या
there's a different meaning in the context. In the Arabic it says يبتغي بذلك وجه الله. What does that mean?
He's sincere. He really means it.
So he's not just saying it. If he's sincere, then it's haram.
Yes. If he is sincere in doing kufr, then he's kafir. If he's sincerely saying La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, so he is.
But we don't know if he's saying it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. That the ulama of Ilm Kalam said, if you come to know about a certain thing, right, from him, like we are talking about Qadianis, right? That it's for sure that they say that Rasulullah sallam is Nabi, but not Khatimun Nabiyyin, right? So now you have a concrete proof, right? So now you can call that group people or that person kafir. But if you do not know, then be quiet, because you do not know whether this person is sincere or not. This is why I'm saying, do not judge people. Judging people is not our right. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's work. Okay, now next hadith is 418. Now this is narrated by Aisha. Rasulullah, she said that Rasulullah sallam used to start everything from right. I mean the good things from right. Whenever it was possible in his affairs. For example, washing, combing or wearing shoes. Everything Rasulullah sallam will start from the right, good thing. So everything, and now there's a long list. Just think about the good things that you do. Start from your right side, and if you start from the left side, that is wrong. That is against the sunnah. Okay. Now comes the hadith number 419. Aisha radiallahu anha narrated that Habiba and Salma mentioned about a church that they have seen in Ethiopia. Now this hadith had come like 5-6 hadiths before, so it's a repetition that they have seen in Ethiopia, in which there were pictures. They told Rasulullah sallam about it, on which Rasulullah sallam said, if any religious man dies among those people, they would build a place of worship at his grave and make these pictures in it. They will be the worst creature in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of resurrection. Brother, unfortunately, we Muslims do this as well. Many Muslims. If you are from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, brothers, we do this a lot. You see, a person dies and we take that qabr as a place of worship. And in many places you'll see a photograph of Muhyiddin Chishti rahmatullah alayh, Nizamuddin Awliya rahimahullah, Bakhtiyar Kaki rahimahullah, you name it. The picture is hanging there, right? Now of course there were no pictures, no camera at that time, but people just make picture and they hang it. And if you go there, you do sajda on that. So this is pure shirk, pure shirk. And Rasulullah sallam warned us. This is the practice of Christians, not us. This is why when Habiba and Salma went there, they saw this happening in a church. Okay? So now we do the same thing. In fact, people who are from India and Pakistan, Bangladesh, we inherited this from Hindus. Right? Most of our culture back in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh is derived from the culture of Hindus. When somebody dies, we do what? Tija, right? Sayyum, Barsi, Chaliswa, yeah, Urs. It is. Yeah. I mean, it is all from Hindu. I mean, when a Hindu person dies, they do Tija. But now we are going step by step, and we do the same thing. And if you say that, no, what is this? Sometimes old people in your family will object. They say, then you have become a Wahhabi. Why don't you want to do Sayyum? Chaliswa. And you say that, no, it is wrong. No, it has been happening in my family for since ever. And if you ask them this simple question, that if it is part of Islam, then tell me, when did the Sayyum or Tija of Rasulullah take place? Or was there any Urs that took place of Rasulullah? Did Sahaba celebrate the Urs of Rasulullah? No. Right? The only thing that these people come up with is that in one hadith sharif, I think in Tirmizi somewhere, it said that Rasulullah used to go to read, to make dua to those people who have died in Uhud, and he will go after a year. So now they say that this means that Rasulullah used to celebrate Urs. So going a year means to them that Rasulullah used to go each year on the day of the battle of Uhud, and Rasulullah will pray, will make dua for the shuhada of Uhud. Although it does not mean at all. It means that Rasulullah would go at least once a year, right, to Uhud, right? He will sit there, he will think about that battle, and he will come back. But they take this, and this is the only thing that they have got from the thousands of ahadith. And there is no proof that the Rasulullah used to celebrate Urus and Chalisma and all that. But the
best way to look at it is if the Salaf Salihin, the Sahaba did it after him, then it would be good.
Exactly.
But they didn't do it.
Yeah, they don't want to understand this. And in our community, Orlando, this thing is spreading. somebody dies, they call Hafiz Sahib, can you come to this Chaliswan? Hafiz Sahib, can you? So, no. So, the next hadith sharif is hadith number 420. It says, Anas ibn Malik says, when Rasulullah sallam arrived in Medina, he dismounted Al-Awali Medina amongst the tribe called Banu Amr ibn Auf. He stayed there for 40 nights. Then he sent for Bani Najjar. And they, who are Bani Najjar? Because remember, Bani Najjar is the family of, sister, anybody? Family of? No, not Amina, good. You know, did you ever thought why Rasulullah before coming to Medina stopped in Quba? Because of Banu Najjar. Because in Quba, the family members of Amina were living there. So he stopped there to meet his uncles and others from his mom's side. And they were from Banu Najjar. So they came armed with sword. Now, this was a kind of respect when these people will come with their weapons, right? So that was to show that, you know, I respect the guest.
They are from your tribe.
Sorry? They are from our tribe, yeah. And if I'm looking just now, as the Prophet ﷺ, as if I'm looking just now, as the Prophet ﷺ was sitting on his rahila with Abu Bakr riding behind him and all Banu Najjar around him, till he dismounted at the courtyard of Abu Ayyub al-Ansari. So Banu Najjar people, you know, they respected Rasulullah ﷺ in Masjid Quba, in Quba, which is called. And remember that in Masjid Quba, right, when in Quba, when Rasulullah ﷺ was leaving, right, they asked Rasulullah ﷺ to build a masjid. So, or lay the foundation stone of a masjid. So the first masjid that Rasulullah built was Masjid Quba. The second was Masjid Nabawi. But the first one was Masjid Quba. So Rasulullah ﷺ laid the foundation stone, and it was Juma, Friday. So the first Juma ever that Rasulullah led was in Masjid Quba. So the way Rasulullah led was that he first gave a khutbah, 2 khutbahs, right? And between the 2 khutbah he sat, he paused, and then he led Juma Salah. So after leading Juma Salah there, then Rasulullah left for Medina right away. So Rasulullah arrived in Medina, right, it was Friday evening, right? So so he went to the house of Abu Ayyub al-Ansari radiallahu anhu. Rasulullah loved to pray wherever the time of the prayer was due, even at sheepfolds. This is the reason why Imam Bukhari have mentioned this hadith. Because now, brother, the sheepfolds are not the cleanest of all places. Okay? But Rasulullah prayed there when the demand of the time called for. Rasulullah prayed there as well. Later on, he ordered that a masjid should be built and sent for some people of Banu Najjar. Said, "Oh Banu Najjar, suggest to me the price of this walled piece of land of yours." They replied, "No, by Allah, we do not demand its price except from Allah." Now, this is for Masjid Nabawi. The Rasulullah wanted a masjid to be built. Anas said, there were graves of mushrikeen in it, and some of it was unleveled, and there were some date palm trees in it. Rasulullah ordered that the graves of the pagans be dug out and the unleveled land be leveled and the date palm trees to be cut. So it was done. They aligned these cut date palm trees towards the Qibla of the mosque as a wall, and they also built 2 stone walls of the mosque. His companions brought the stones while reciting some of the poetic verses. Rasulullah was with them, and he kept on saying, "There is no goodness except that of the hereafter, O Allah, so please forgive the Ansar and the immigrants." Does anybody knows this in Arabic? भाई आप लोग हिंदी सॉन्ग तो मालूम है? Good. Yeah. Jazakallah. Allahumma la aisha illa aishul akhirah. Faghfiril ansara wal muhajira. So they were singing it in a rhythm. Allahumma la aisha illa aishul akhirah. فَاغْفِرْ الْأَنصَارَ وَالْمُهَاجِرَ, which means Allah, the real life is the life of Akhirah. So Allah forgive these. Now, forgive the Ansar and Muhajirin. So here, brother, first thing is that Masjid Nabawi, the land of Masjid Nabawi was bought. Okay, Rasulullah ﷺ was offered, right, to receive that land free of cost. But Rasulullah said no. Now, who are the owner of this land? Two yatim children, Sahal and Suhail. The name was Sahal and Suhail, and they were yatim children, and they belonged to Banu Najjar, this tribe. So they came to Rasulullah and they said, "Oh Prophet Allah, we are just donating it free of cost." But Rasulullah knew that these children are yatim, they need money, right? And I don't want people to think that I came to Medina and I forced upon people to give the land. So Rasulullah said, no. Allah will give you reward for your intention, but I want to buy it. So Rasulullah bought it. And who gave the money? Abu Bakr. So the original land of Masjid Nabawi, right, was bought by Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala. Now we are talking about Masjid Nabawi now. Masjid Quba hogi. Once Rasulullah came to Medina, now he built Masjid Nabawi. So we are talking about Masjid Nabawi. Now Masjid Quba was not bought. That land belonged to the people there. So together they came and they said, you know what, Rasulullah ﷺ, let's build a masjid. So Rasulullah put the foundation. So it was not bought. The people there, they owned it. So collectively, it was that decision to build a masjid there. But here it was the decision of Rasulullah ﷺ to build a masjid. So Rasulullah bought this piece of land from Sahal and Suhail, the yatim children, and Rasulullah paid the money, Abu Bakr gave the money, and then it was built. Now the way it was built was that there were graves of mushrikeen there. So it was dug and they were buried some other place. Okay? And then it was cleaned and then they built Masjid Nabawi. Now, Rasulullah also worked like a laborer. Right?
Any specific for that place?
Ji?
Why they need to move the deceased bodies? They could have built somewhere else.
I do not know what was the reason. I don't know. But
The camel found that land, that space.
That's
no, that was the house of Abu Ayyub Ansari.
That's where he stayed.
That was it. But we do not know why. There could be some reason. But when Rasulullah ﷺ took those bodies out, right, they were the mushrikeen body, they were buried at some other place. It's just that they were moved. Okay? Just like, the bodies of Muslims have been moved so many times. Right? The bodies of Sahaba have been moved. For whatever reason. Right? But they were taken out from the qabr and were moved. So, sometimes if the water is going inside the qabr of a Muslim, you have to remove it. Right? Any Muslim. So if you are sure that the water is going inside the qabr, no matter how old the qabr is. I can tell you that my grandmother, my dadi's qabr, she died in 1962, 63. But I think in 1986, 87, the caretaker of that cemetery told my dad that there's water going. Whenever it rains, the water is going inside the qabr. Okay? So 30 years after my grandmother's death, my dad, after consulting the local ulama, decided to open the qabr. So after 30 years of the burial, the qabr was open. But no common man was allowed to come there. Only 7-8 ulamas went there. So a qabr was dug few meters away from the qabr, and she was placed there. Okay. Now we were children, so we wanted to know what did my dad see inside the qabr. And my mom, rahimahullah, she used to ask that how was the kafan? Was the body intact or it was just bones? But my dad did not say a word ever. And he always said that it is wrong to talk about the qabr and whatever goes inside, is wrong. So, but then he along with 2-3 ulamas transformed the body, transferred the body. So this is something that could be done. Okay, and in the past it had been done to Sahaba as well. Okay, but here mushrikeen's grave was there. Rasulullah, it's not that Rasulullah took it and threw out them. No, Rasulullah buried because remember, the bodies of non-Muslims should be respected as well. Okay, we learn one hadith later on that one day Rasulullah was sitting and a janaza passed by, and there were people holding the bed of the janaza, and many of them were accompanying. So Rasulullah saw that janaza. Rasulullah stood up. He was sitting. He stood up out of respect. So one Sahabi came in and he whispered. He said, "O Prophet of Allah, maybe you do not know. This person who died is a Yahudi, a Jew." So Rasulullah looked at this Sahabi and said, "Isn't it that Jews are also humans?" Yeah. So respect the body. So Rasulullah was sitting, he stood up. So this shows that Rasulullah respected and taught us to respect the bodies of mushrikeen. So here Rasulullah transferred their body to another qabr. And then Rasulullah worked as a labor. And Rasulullah used to sing, by the way, remember that. So singing is not haram. Remember that. Singing is not haram, provided that there are two conditions met. One is that the lyrics should be good, should have good meaning, like Allahumma la aisha illa aishul akhirah. Rasulullah used to sing with Sahaba. Okay? And second thing is that it should not be accompanied with music or dance. Yes?
Correctly, as far as the body is concerned, as of today, when we build a masjid, there should not be any qabr there. It does not matter if it's a Muslim or non-Muslim.
Yes.
Including the qabr of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not inside the masjid. It was outside. Later it was done political reason or something else.
Because where Rasulullah is buried was the room of Aisha, the hujra of Aisha. So that was already outside. But now after that, when the number of Muslims grew, right? So now they had to expand the masjid. Now right now, the Saudi government is again expanding. Okay? So because that the original masjid was very small, brothers and sisters. It could accommodate only a couple of hundred people, maybe less. Allahu Alam. Right? The original land is still there. You can just see how big was the masjid. But now, brother, we are talking about millions of people. Right now, somebody came from Umrah and was saying, Habisab, masjids were full. Haram of Makkah was full. Haram of Medina was full. So now when they expanded the masjid, right, the expansion of the masjid of Masjid Nabi took place many times. So they had no option but to include these hujra inside the masjid.
In 1925, they were about to move the body of the Prophet ﷺ, and they were told not to do it because it would create a big fitna. So they stopped. Yeah. Otherwise, they want to move him to another place. Yeah.
So narrated by Hadith number 421, it talks of Anas ibn Malik said that Rasulullah ﷺ prayed in the sheepfold again. Later on, I heard him saying he prayed in the sheepfold before the construction of the masjid. Now here's a point to remember. That sometimes, brother, when you're traveling or you're at a place where there are statues or photographs hanging, you can still pray there. You can still pray there. Because when Umar radiallahu anhu went to Jerusalem, right, and he prayed inside a church, right, and there were statues of, but he prayed there. So you can pray there. So here also Rasulullah prayed in the sheepfold, although sheepfold is not a very clean place to pray, but Rasulullah prayed there because he might not have found some other place. So Hadith number 422 says that I saw Ibn Umar praying while taking his camel as a sutra in front of him and said, I saw Rasulullah doing the same. So he made the camel sit in front of him. So it was like sutra, big sutra. You can do something in the masjid, brother. If somebody is sitting in front of you, you can pray behind him and that brother would be a sutra.
Just make sure you tie him.
Tell him not to move. Narrated by Abdullah ibn Abbas. He said that when the sun eclipsed and Rasulullah offered the eclipse prayer, which is called Salatul Kusuf, and said, I have been shown the hellfire now, and I never saw a worse and horrible sight than the sight I have seen today. So this means that when Rasulullah was praying, Rasulullah was watching in the hellfire. Okay? So ulama have derived a lesson from here and that is that if you can pray in front of a fire, that's fine. Okay? Remember, some people, the Majusis, they used to worship fire. So they have said that, if you are praying and there's fire burning in front of you, it doesn't matter because your intention is not to worship fire. Here Rasulullah was shown the fire of hell. The fire of hell, Rasulullah said that it's not a child's play to think that, like Yahud say, that we'll go to Jannah and some of us will go to hellfire, but they will do a flying visit. They'll go there and after ayyam ma'duda, a few days, and then they'll be out. Yahud say. Why? Because nahnu abna'ullahi wa ahibbahu. We are the chosen people. So anyhow, even if you have to go to hellfire for 1 hour, imagine what you are talking about. The fire of hell has been burning since ever. Now the fire has become black. The flames have become black, Rasulullah said. Let me tell you one thing, brother, here, which might help us, because it's very... brother, these days zina is everywhere. Adultery is everywhere. And here, brother, I'm talking about our community. Wallahi, brother, wallahi, I'm telling you, this is my 20th year here in this community. I have never received so many calls about counseling as in 2012. Married people committing adultery, unmarried people committing adultery, spouse abuse is becoming common. It's really bad, brother. It's really bad. But when you talk about the fire of hell, I was telling somebody yesterday this hadith sharif that Rasulullah said that the people who do zina, men and women both, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had prepared a very unique kind of punishment for them. Right? And this unique punishment is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had built a huge hall. Like this hall is? Huge hall. Just imagine how big that hall would be. That would accommodate billions of people, trillions of people. So a huge hall. But that hall would not be of concrete. It would be of iron. So the floor would be iron, the walls would be iron, and nothing up there is open. So, and beneath the iron floor, the fire of Jahannam is burning since ever. So now that floor is, just imagine how hot it would be. Imagine the wall, how hot the wall would be. So now it's said that Allah will order the angels. Allah will say, take these naked people, because there will be no clothes there, men and women in Jahannam. Take these people as they are naked and throw them in this hall, and then order them to do the same heinous act of zina like they were doing together in this world, in the world. Tell them to do it. Now these Zani and Zaniya people would be thrown in that hall, and the angel will instruct them, come on, do the same act that you were doing in the world. They'll try to run, but they could not go because the roof is burning, the walls are burning, everything is burning, and that also from the fire of Jahannam. So imagine what would be the condition of these Zani and Zaniya people. That would be one punishment, not all. This is one punishment that Allah had prepared for Zani and Zaniya. But people don't understand. They think that it's just a cup of tea. It's easy, no problem. So it is really, really bad. And this is why I keep saying, brother, don't watch haram things. Because when we watch haram things, we do what we watch. Because in Surah Nur, again, coming back to those two famous ayat, when Allah said, do not watch haram things, what Allah said, if you do watch haram things, you will do haram things. So Allah said, وَقُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَغُضُّوا مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ, do not watch haram things, وَيَحْفَظُوا فُرُوجَهُمْ, this way you will not do haram things. And then Allah said to women, and this is strange because when Allah talks to men, Allah talks to women as well. I mean, in the same ayah, women are included in the house. But on this issue, Allah revealed a separate ayah that is talking to women specifically. Allah said, وَقُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنَاتِ يَغْضُضْنَ مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِنَّ وَيَحْفَظْنَ فُرُوجَهُنَّ. Tell women, right, that they should also not watch haram things, otherwise they will end up doing haram things. So zina, brother, is not something that a person can just take lightly. It is something that is very, very heinous in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the punishment that I told you is from Hadith Sharif, and it is one kind of punishment, although there are many more punishments. So this one, not the last hadith here. Hadith is okay. Sight of Allah. Okay, here's and here, brother, one more point of 490, brother. Do not hang the photographs of dead people in your rooms, whether they are your dad, mom, grandfather. Don't hang the photograph. That is very un-Islamic. Rasulullah sallam disliked it, right? Don't hang the photographs of dead people. Yes.
Sir, sometimes the children want to...
Yeah, आपने दो बात कही, हाफिज साहब और शेख साहब, क्या चीज़ है? शेख नहीं, शेख तो था शेख, शेख, you are saying शेख.
Important thing that the bachas, the kids, children say, we want to see our grandkid, how he looks like, So, and that time you cannot say, well, it's inside the closet and let's get it off albums out and everything else. I'm just talking about, I know you're talking about Sunnah, they just want to know how he looks like, how the grandparents look like. So in this one you say not allowed.
What I'm saying, don't hang the photographs.
So how else?
If you have somewhere in an album or somewhere, that's a different story. But Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam have told us that he disliked hanging of photographs because that could lead to worshipping it. Okay, now 424. Okay, you know what? Another thing, brother, is if your children are talking about how the grandparents look like, the best thing is to tell them how good your parents were. Yeah, so they can follow. Okay.
After the children here, they don't care about the parents.
Okay. Okay, now 424, the last hadith, brother. The last hadith of today is this, that by Ibn Umar. He said that Rasulullah said that offer some of your prayers, meaning nawafil at home, and do not take your house as graveyard. This topic has come before as well, and that is that nafil prayers should be prayed at home, and if you don't pray at home, that is as if you have made your houses like grave. Now remember, when a person is buried in his qabr, that person cannot pray at all, because that person is... Now, I know you will quote one or two instances where Sahaba heard the tilawat of Quran, the voice of tilawat of Quran coming out from the grave, Surah Mulk. Remember that? So yeah, these are some of rare things that happen. If you love a certain surah and like that Sahabi did, so other Sahaba heard the voice of tilawat of Quran coming out from that grave. So that is, but usually the general rule is that once you are done, once you die, your book of deed is closed. Even if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does give this ability to some ruh to read, but there will be no reward.
Maybe you will.
Yeah, but there will be no reward of doing tilawat after death, because once you die, your book is closed. So now no more.
Deed is closed.
Yeah. Huh?
You will get salvage.
No, you will not get anything, because after death, if you do pray your soul prays, let's say, or you do tilawat of Quran, or if Allah gives you that ability, so there will be no reward for it. Reward is as long as you are alive. Okay? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can give this ability to anybody that Allah wants, right? Since it's in a Sahih hadith, so it is Sahih. So, but once you die, your book of deed is closed. Okay, sir. Now, my dear brothers and sisters, regarding the yeah. About what? About what? Well, it is in the Quran itself. In Surah Luqman, ayah number 5. Alif Lam Ra tilka ayatul kitab al-hakim hudan wa rahmatan lil muhsinin alladhina yuqimuna as-salata wa yu'tuna az-zakata wa hum la yuqinun ulaika ala hudan min rabbihim wa ulaika humul muflihun. Right? And after this, the 5th ayah is wa min an-nasi man yashtari lahwa al-hadith. Lahwa al-hadith, right, is music. So and then you go and check any book of tafsir. I would recommend Ibn Kathir. Go and check Ibn Kathir. And then Lahw al-Hadith means what? Okay? So I think Ibn Kathir have given 15-20 quotations from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All of them say mazameen. Mazameen means musical instruments. Okay? So singing is okay, right? Rasulullah used to sing, provided the lyrics are right? And there is no dancing or okay. Okay, so before I start the bio, I have only 10-12 minutes quickly. Those brothers who are going for fishing, I would like to inform you that we have arranged for a bus. Okay, because and the bus would be here exactly around 9 o'clock next week. So I would like you to please do not bring your cars. Bring your cars here, but then park them here, and then we'll go in a bus. Okay. Now that bus can accommodate 60 people. So what I have done is that youngsters, they will go in 2-3 cars, but the 60 people, I want all of them. I want 60 brothers to be there. So because from here to Cocoa Beach, the toll is $7. Yes. So per car, that's $7 plus gas. And here we have a bus. And for the bus, Zahir Bhai will be driving. So we are making. Usually it will cost $800 to $900. But Zahir Bhai said that I will be driving. So we just have to give to the company $500. So if everybody pays $10, we are good.
So what considers young?
I was thinking.
There will be no class.
Why not? यार बचपने की आप आते नहीं भाई. Why? I said after Hadith class will go. Our class would be as usual.
नहीं वो कह रहे हैं क्लास नहीं होनी चाहिए.
Everybody tired.
We will have storage for like coolers and stuff.
Yeah, and we have we have places to. We have plenty of place to store your food or drinks that you will bring.
झगड़ा होगा तब अपना अपना खाना लाएंगे तो.
मुसलमान झगड़ा होगा. We must bring our sunglasses. In fact, we'll email you the things that have been recommended to us that we should bring. So, inshallah, we'll sit down. Okay, so let's quickly do this.
The evening, is there any program in the evening? Yes. On the beach or anywhere? After barbecue.
At 6 o'clock we should be back. And then Shabab will have tafsir of Quran after Maghrib as well. Okay, now quickly let's do the Seerah of Sahaba. Now, Usman radiallahu anh, now one of his greatest achievement that is giving him tremendous amount of reward is his work towards compilation of Quran. Okay. Now remember that the work was started during the Khilafat of Abu Bakr. Okay. But it finished. It came to a conclusion during the Khilafat of Usman radiallahu anhu. Okay. So, so it's not that only Usman will get the credit for that. It was Abu Bakr and Umar both, because Umar gave opinion of compiling Quran to Abu Bakr. Okay. So Abu Bakr first was hesitant. He said that how can I compile all the ayahs of Quran in the form of a book when it was not done by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Umar radiallahu anhu, who had been given so much deep insight about Islam, he said that yes, it was not possible at the time of Rasulullah because ayahs were being constantly revealed. But now Rasulullah sallam had left this world. Now the Quran is complete. I mean, there will be no additional ayah. So now if we will not compile the ayahs of Quran in the form of a book, then we are going to lose it. Right? So then Zayd ibn Thabit radiallahu anhu was given this huge task of leading this work. So we'll Zayd ibn Thabit, yes. So inshallah we'll learn about it. So here Usman. Usman is perhaps best known for forming the committee which produced multiple copies of the text of the Quran. So as it exists today, the reason was that various Muslim centers like Kufa and Damascus had begun to develop their own tradition of reciting the Quran and writing it down with stylistic differences. Now, the reason for that is, brother, that Quran could be read into 7 different ways. Yes, and in fact, one saying says 9 different ways. Okay. Now, although Quran was revealed in the dialect of Quraysh, okay, but since people in Damascus was also Arab, right? People in Kufa was also Arab, right? So they would read, for example, Alhamdulillahi Maliki Yawmi, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin Rahmani Maliki Yawmiddin. So there was Alhamdu, they will stretch it. Lillahi Maliki Yawmiddin, So this was that dialect. So Usman felt that, these Arab people have their own dialect, they have their own style of reading, right, and pronouncing words. So he said that, this is not right. Quran should be read in one way, in one style, and that is the style in which it was revealed to Rasulullah and the way Rasulullah read. If we leave this to the people who are Arab, so they are going to read in a different, so then there will be so many different qiraat, right? So what he did was, he formed a committee, Usman, right? He said, no, let's come to a conclusion. What was the way in which Rasulullah read Quran, right? And now Quran must be written in the same way, right? So a committee was formed, and then they wrote Quran in the same way it was read by Rasulullah. That's why it's called Suhuf Uthmani. If you read Quran in many Suhuf, it is written Suhuf Kama fi Suhuf Uthmani, which means that as it was in the Suhuf of Uthmani. So this was a big achievement of Usman radiallahu ta'ala. Although to learn Qiraat, it's called Qiraat Sab'ah. To learn the 7 ways of reciting Quran, it is important upon some ulama. I mean, there should be a group of Qurra who should know how to read Quran in 7 different ways. But for awam, for common people, they should know to learn only one way, and that is the way of Rasulullah sallallahu. Okay, so during the time of Usman, by which time Islam has spread, Islam had spread far and wide. Difference in reading the Quran in different dialects of Arabic language became obvious. A group of companions headed by Huzaifa al-Yaman, who was then stationed in Iraq, came to Usman and urged with him, save the Muslim Ummah before they differ about the Quran. Usman obtained the complete manuscript of the Quran from Hafsa. So remember, the job of compilation of Quran had been done. That's why Hafsa, the wife of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one of the had the original one. That was the one. Okay, who had been trusted to keep the manuscript ever since the Quran was comprehensively compiled by the first Khalifa Umar, Abu Bakr. Usman then again summoned the leading compiling authority Zayd ibn Thabit and some other companions to make copies of the manuscript. Zayd was put in charge of the task. The style of Arabic dialect used was that of Quraysh, because Quran was revealed in the dialect of Quraysh, to which the Prophet ﷺ belonged. Hence, this style was emphasized over all others. Zayd and his assistants produced several copies of the manuscript of the Quran. One of each was sent to every Muslim province with the order that all other Quranic materials, whether fragmented or complete copies, be destroyed.
Even if they were correct?
Yeah, because it was written with different style, with different, for example, कोई आयत बोलिए.
Maliki Yawmiddin में there's the alif and without alif Maliki.
Maliki, ठीक है. Maliki Yawmiddin, ठीक है. Now Quran was revealed like this, ma with alif. अच्छा आपने. अब in other one it is Maliki Yawmiddin with ma. Maliki.
Different word.
Right. So now there were copies of Quran that Zayd compiled, in which it was written like, now this is right. It is not wrong, it is right. But it is not the way in which it was revealed to Rasulullah ﷺ. But in their dialect it is right. So he said that no, this is wrong. So let's come, all the copies should have one uniform way of writing, and that is Maliki Yawmiddin. So all the rest of the copies were destroyed.
It is revealed only in voice, not in written, so it depends how you write it.
Huh?
Quran was revealed in the only audio, right? So now depends how you write it.
No, it was revealed 7 ways. Different ways.
Yeah, but the thing is that Naseem, but the problem is that let's say if it was left to the people, right? Then there would have been many differences. हम लोग अभी लड़ते हैं यार. If that, then it would Habib Sahib, he did Maliki, it would have been big padda all the time. So he said no, and then Islam had to come to India, already. So there had been many problems. So here, Osman, it's a big service that Osman did, really big. As such, when the standard copies were made widely available to the Muslim Ummah everywhere, then all other material was burned voluntarily by Muslim community themselves.
This is one point also when I saw a video of Ahmad Didat with about his Bible, Word of God, and there the other person, the priest, he was saying about this point that it was burned. So how do you prove that it was original piece of Word of Allah? Even if it was, they were saying that they don't believe in it. So the answer would be.
The answer is it was a difference of dialect, not the words.
Also, there were hufaz at that time.
Yeah, and then hufaz, वो तो dialect की बात है ना, not the actual words. Okay, the annihilation of these Quranic extra Quranic documents remain essential in order to eradicate spiritual. So this was a big service done by Usman radiallahu anhu, and we owe a lot to Usman. Had he not done it, right, this ummah would have been facing lots of ikhtilafat, different opinion when it comes to the tilawat of Quran. So inshallah I'll stop here with us 9:30. So inshallah I'll see you to next week. Inshallah subhanallah bihamdi subhanak Allahumma bihamdik nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.
رب زدني علما ألف لام